Hi, Valerie Knowles from Knowles Produce here with a quick little info video about what this cold weather does to our plants here. So, a lot of questions have been coming in about protecting plants from the cold or protecting them from the snow. Here's the deal. Much of what's out right now, the cold won't hurt as far as life. It may hurt as far as blooms. These are pansies or violas. They are cold lovers, so the plant itself will be just fine with this cold snap that we've had. It's even just fine with the major variance in temperatures where it's real warm and then it's real cold. They are totally fine with that. But as you can see, the blooms are not perky. They're not up, they're not open, they're wilted, some of them are crunchy, and that is typical for what you would see with these big cold snaps. It will hurt the blooms on something like this. So most of these blooms will die off, and then when it gets a little bit warmer, you'll have new blooms come. These back here, these are daffodils. They're a bulb that comes up every year and blooms in your yard every year. You might have other perennials that come back every year that have started to come up. The cold and the snow won't hurt them, but it may do to the flowers just what happened to the pansies. It may hurt the flowers. The plant will be just fine, but unfortunately, no, they won't rebloom this year. They will come back next year though, but it won't kill the plant. If your camellias are in bloom, there again, it can make the flowers brown and crunchy, but it won't hurt the leaves at all. Now, that being said, that same theory can be applied to trees that are in bloom right now, which include cherry blossoms for some of us. Some of the ones on the tidal basin were in bloom too. The blooms will get crunchy and brown and not look so great, not come back this year. If they were just in bud, if it wasn't a full open bloom, there's probably some saving that in that they'll come out on the next real warm day. But if they were open, chances are they'll be crunchy, they'll be brown, and they won't bounce back from that. It is a problem for fruit growers because a lot of apricot trees were in bloom, a lot of plum trees locally were in bloom, a lot of the early varieties of peaches were in bloom, and once those blooms fall off, then there's nothing to produce fruit. So our apricot grower actually sent us a photo that said, "Hello apricot flowers, goodbye apricots." So it's going to be a challenging year for local fruit. Actually, all up and down the East Coast, it's going to be a challenging year for summertime stone fruit, particularly the ones that are harvested earlier, because a lot of those blossoms have now had damage. So just hold your horses on doing your spring plantings until, I would say, Mother's Day. Mother's Day, the temperatures are pretty much evened out, but we can have really, really cold temperatures quite a bit between now and Mother's Day, and your really cold sensitive plants like impatiens, pepper plants, tomato plants, when you get into those types of plants, the cold will harm the plant itself, not just the blossoms. So if we had a cold snap and you had tomato plants in the ground, it will just kill that whole tomato plant. Basil's particularly susceptible, so just hold off until after Mother's Day for those types of plants. But we at Knowles are really good about carrying what is seasonally specific. So we won't have lots and lots of tomato plants this time of year because it's not time to plant tomato plants. So if you're a beginner gardener, if you think you got a brown thumb, or you're just really nervous about what's the right thing to do, come and ask us and we will be more than happy to help. Or come and look at what we have on hand and what kind of preparations we've made, and that might help you in taking care of your garden. So that's all for today. I will see you guys soon, and hopefully it'll be warmer next time we talk. Bye guys.